Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Lim.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Lay, and very honored today to be here today for Yelena broadcast. And she has actually asked me to perform a song for our shows. So I'm gonna perform one of my original songs. The song name is Ký ức, which means memories in English. I just released the MV last week, so hopefully everybody gonna support me and for my future products. Thank you very much. So the song is Ký ức by Brian Lay. Let's go. Đêm từng đêm vùi mình vào những khoảng trống như dài thêm, chìm vào những suy tư cùng tiếng thở dài, những mệt nhoài phủ vây quanh tôi. Em ngồi đây, mình tựa đầu vào nhau và nắm đôi bàn tay, từng nhịp đập con tim cùng những dịu dàng, những nồng nàn mà ta đã trao. Giờ đã không còn những cái ôm của em, cũng không còn được nhìn đôi mắt kia dịu êm, cùng với nụ cười và những ngọt ngào, những chiếc hôn mà mình đã trao nhau bấy lâu. Giờ chẳng còn gì ngoài những ký ức về nhau, cũng chẳng còn gì ngoài những thói quen của nhau. Tôi vẫn hay lục tìm những kỷ niệm em bỏ lại ở đây cùng tôi. Trôi nhẹ trôi, cùng nhìn lại những giây phút ta gần nhau, từng đoạn đường mà ta đã hẹn hò, những góc phố quen thuộc mà mình cùng nhau đón đưa. Tôi nhìn em, nhìn thật gần dòng nước mắt trên cơ mi, còn lại gì trong ta ngoài những nghẹn ngào, cất lời chào tạm biệt nhau. Giờ đã không còn dịu em, cùng với nụ cười và những ngọt ngào, những chiếc hôn mà mình đã trao nhau bấy lâu. Giờ chẳng còn gì ngoài những ký ức về nhau, cũng chẳng còn gì ngoài những thói quen của nhau. Tôi vẫn hay lục tìm những kỷ niệm em bỏ lại ở đây cùng tôi. Giờ đã không còn những cái ôm của em, cũng không còn được nhìn đôi mắt kia dịu em, cùng với nụ cười và những ngọt ngào, những chiếc hôn mà mình đã trao nhau bấy lâu. của nhau cùng chẳng còn gì ngoài những ký ức về nhau tôi vẫn hay lục tìm những kỷ niệm em bỏ lại ở đây cùng tôi cùng tôi cùng tôi bỏ lại cùng tôi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this is Brian Lay. He young, right? Em qua Mỹ năm nào vậy em?
Dạ em qua 5 năm trước, 2020.
So you've only 2020? You've only been here 5 years. Oh, that's
Yeah.
And this is not your profession, right? What cái công việc của em là công việc gì? Em làm gì?
Yeah. Actually, my main job is a registered nurse. I work in UCI Fountain Valley. Yes.
Nice. So he's an RN who can sing like that. Probably a nice way to make your patients feel better. That's awesome.
That's
So
yeah.
as quý vị thấy không? That's why I love this show. Lina đã từng nói là quý vị sẽ không bao giờ mà nghe ca sĩ nào nổi tiếng trên show này đâu. Toàn là mấy người không ai biết hết trơn á. But I'd love to introduce new young talent to our community. Brian Lay is one of them. So you're an RN. I mean, that in itself is your career. Do you have other different plans for your future?
My plan is this September I'm gonna go back to school to do my nurse practitioner, which is a master degree. But I'm still gonna release more songs that I wrote a couple of years ago, and just trying to live my life at the fullest. Yes,
Very,
I do
very nice.
both
Well,
at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Good luck to you in your profession, not only as a nurse practitioner in the future, but also in music, because that's something that you don't give up that for a job. So Brian Lay, thank you. Maybe we'll have you back on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just want to say that I think this podcast is toward the LGBT community. I just want to say that me personally, I have a lot of friends who's LGBT, and they are one of the best individuals that I ever know. So for this Pride Month, I just want to say I always support you guys, and always be brave, be proud, and be you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very nice. So now you know what the show is about. As you know, June is Pride Month. You probably heard stories and seen celebrations of Pride Month. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of have this conversation. Sometimes it's not an easy conversation to have, especially in traditional conservative Vietnamese families. And thực sự bây giờ chắc cái show hôm nay Lina phải nói tiếng Anh hơi nhiều là tại vì nhiều lúc cái từ mình không biết cái từ mình nên use cái từ nào. And có thể đó là một cái sự mà khó cho những em sau này nói chuyện với gia đình. Right? It's easy to say stuff in English. But what are the words if you want to talk to your parents about these kinds of issues, right? So I'm hoping that my two guests today will shed some light on kind of their journey, what they went through. Maybe they can help someone out there who is, whether you're struggling with something or you find it hard to talk to your family just about life. I hope that we can start some conversations. So, cái này rất là tình cờ nha. I think that's the name. Tình cờ. Coincidence. Is that tình cờ? Okay, very good. Thế lâu lâu cô giáo cũng giỏi. Tình cờ là cả ba người guest trên show hôm nay là in the medical field. So that can't be surprising. A lot of Vietnamese in the health industry, right? One person, you have seen him before. He's already has a fan base on Van May's show. People just enjoyed seeing him on the show. And so, of course, we had him back. And he is a GI specialist. She is I heard you and Brian talking about this future of medicine. But so she is an ER nurse practitioner, right? Did I get that right? All of these things. So first of all, Joey Quyên Trương.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe. Tell me about your just what you're doing right now. I just want to get a quick generally.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing right now?
Okay. Thank you chị Lina, nice to meet you. Mình tên là Joey Trương, mình hiện tại là tiếng Anh gọi là nurse practitioner, nhưng mà I don't think we have a term in Vietnamese,
Right.
but many people call it AC, but I researched it, I don't think it's correct. But mình cứ gọi nôm na là y sĩ đi, but in English is nurse practitioner. Joey làm ở trong emergency medicine, là trong phòng cấp cứu. Hiện tại Joey đã làm được hơn 3 năm rưỡi. I've been a nurse for about 14 years, and just recently finished my certification for mental health. Nice. So taking my board soon for my second degree. And so I'm looking forward to helping more people.
Right, very good. And of course, Dr. Calvin, for you who have not seen him on the show, I'm going to let him just take a few seconds to tell me all of the great things that he does. You don't sing too, do you? Do you sing?
I do.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah. I
was joking, but
I used to actually. When I first came to the US.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you remember the Sĩ Ngọc Lan.
Yes.
When she passed away, I sang in the CD.
Oh wow.
Like the CD was about her. So yeah,
wow.
I was singing that time. Right. Trying to make ends meet, basically. You know, just about it.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
So trước hết là chào Joey, chào chị Lena again. And kính chào quý vị đang xem cái chương trình. Thì Calvin đã từng lên cái show này hồi tháng 4, đúng rồi, tháng 4. Dạ. Thì rất là hân hạnh được chị Lena mời lại. Chắc nhờ nói bậy nói bạ gì đó thì mới được mời lại. Nói đúng quá thì khô quá thì cũng không được. Nhưng mà bây giờ Calvin đang là một bác sĩ về tiêu hóa, tốt nghiệp, Calvin tốt nghiệp ở UCLA, cả Med School and Fellowship, và đã làm bác sĩ tiêu hóa từ năm 2018.
Wow.
Cũng khá được một thời gian rồi, và hiện nay thì vẫn còn rất yêu công việc của mình, chưa có muốn đổi nghề, chưa muốn đổi qua làm ca sĩ nữa đâu.
You can do both.
Yeah, so many chắc chắn là trong cộng đồng người Việt mình là có rất là nhiều người bác sĩ và ca sĩ luôn, bác sĩ mà hát được. Okay, so we want to talk about the LGBTQ plus community. And I've had this conversation before on the show with a few other people. And one thing that is very difficult is the vocabulary, right? Vocabulary, dĩ nhiên tiếng Anh thì mình nói rất là dễ rồi. Nhưng mà, like in the Vietnamese community, are there words to use, right? Like what? So tell me. Kể như là mình biết gì hết trơn á, right? And so like tell me, how do you, when you say LGBTQ community, what do they call it in the Vietnamese community?
I actually, you know, growing up in Vietnam, tại Calvin qua đây lúc là gần 21 rồi. Thành thử hồi ở Việt Nam á, hay bị gọi mấy cái tên lắm, nhưng mà những cái tên đó nó có một cái negative, you know, meaning, you know, to it. So nó không có một cái neutral. I don't think that is a neutral word you can say, mà không có một cái negative meaning. Chẳng hạn như hồi nhỏ thì bị gọi là bóng, bị gọi là BD này, hoặc là 3D. Nó có một cái negative, you know, notion to that. So it's different. It's not the same compared to when you say gay. It's more neutral. That's how I feel.
Just is.
It's just gay. It just is.
Right.
So you're right. I don't think that is a true word.
Okay, như vậy là đến bây giờ trong cộng đồng mình cũng không có cái từ gì mà nó neutral hết trơn á. Right? What do you think?
There's a LGBTQ là mình có thể dịch thẳng luôn, như là L là lesbian thì mình gọi là đồng tính nữ, gay mình gọi là đồng tính nam, transgender mình gọi là chuyển giới tính nha. So những người chuyển giới tính. Bisexual em quên là tiếng Việt là cái gì rồi, song tính, đúng rồi, là người thích cả trai và gái luôn. Nhưng mà in American culture là có rất là nhiều term khác nhau, như là pansexual nè. Okay, and
so we've got homosexual, pansexual,
bisexual, lesbian, gay, queers. We also have some other term, but I can't think of in my head. Some other term too, like you attract to intellectual people.
Oh,
yeah, that's a term for I forgot.
Oh my gosh, I know what it is. I've talked about it.
Yeah, so I completely forgot the term.
Sapiosexual. Okay, I know.
Yeah.
I know that there are many different terms. There's also trisexual. Have you heard of that?
Oh my gosh, no.
Try anything. I'm joking. I'm just joking. Okay.
Or fluid.
Fluid. Yeah.
When I live in LA,
Gender fluid.
actually
Gender
they call
fluid.
it
Yeah.
fluid, just fluid.
Yeah.
Okay. So then let's talk about your own personal journeys. And Duke Hut, like, thank you so much for agreeing to talk about this, because dĩ nhiên khi mà mình nói về những cái chủ đề như vậy đó, there are going to be people who are against you. There are going to be people who judge you. Mặc dù không liên quan gì đến ta hết trơn á. Like it doesn't matter, right? Does it really matter to you what anyone else is doing in their bedroom? Of course not. You shouldn't. But there are people who will judge. And you know that. And yet you still are very open and want to share something. So thank you very much for that. Growing up, was it difficult? I mean, at what point do you feel like it was okay to tell somebody?
For me, it was never okay to tell anybody, because lúc mà em nói thẳng ra là em không, I didn't come out. My sister just rat me out to my parents.
Wait, nhưng mà how did your sister know?
She heard me talk on the phone with other girls.
I see. Okay.
And then she just told my dad. Yes. So it was really hard. Lúc đó rất là khó. So I have a little bit on the negative journey as a teenager. So because of that, my dad didn't agree with my sexuality. So he said that I didn't belong to the family. So I left the house when I was 18. So and at that time, I just came to the US for about a year and a half. Yeah, so I was still in high school.
Wow,
at that
that's
time.
tough.
Yeah, I was literally under the bridge for a while. Yes.
Like homeless.
Yes.
Như vậy là em phải là bỏ nhà đi là vì ba má không có chấp nhận.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
How about you, Calvin? What was your experience like?
So I knew I was different when I was a kid. I think 7, 8 years old. You just knew different. You know, the games I was playing as a kid was different than, you know, the boys in school. And so and throughout, high school, and you had to always in that fear that you're being yelled at, or những cái từ ngữ nó không có được nice lắm. But you in that you kind of the struggle to constantly proving yourself. And I think it's good and bad. Because if you actually come out on the other side, which I hope I did, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So I hope I did, and it's just make me who I am today. But there are many people, they couldn't make it to the other side. They stay on that side, meaning they go into depression, all the negative notion. Like I just, a lot of gay kids actually become homeless, being abused on the street, killed, and that can happen. And me personally, I struggle with suicide. I remember, I came to the US when I was almost 21. I think around 22, that's when I came out to my family. And, at that time, ba mẹ cũng nghĩ là ba mẹ chỉ nói là có thể là một cái phase trong cuộc đời thôi. And you're gonna grow out of it.
Yes.
But I knew, it's not. And I just kind of I just stay quiet. I didn't want to elaborate more.
Did they ever use the term "bần"? Because I hear that a lot. You hear it a lot too, right?
Yeah, I did hear that. They didn't say that to me directly though. With my parents, I love them to that. But at that time, they just think it's just a phase. And I think after that, I struggle. Right? I look at myself in the mirror all the time, and I always say, "Why? God gave me everything, but make me this." I struggle with that idea, and many times, the thought of suicide came across my mind. I think part of it is being an immigrant. Like I came here with nothing. My family had nothing. I came here with nothing. I was old enough, 21. You're old enough that you kind of have an idea of the path forward is going to be really tough. And then on top of it, you still have to deal with, this whole issue that you try to hide. Nói thiệt đó chị Lina mà hỏi em hả on the show 10 năm trước không dám lên đâu.
I know.
I wouldn't. I stay kind of quiet, like under the radar the whole time until I start working. That's when I actually, and as you get older, you probably related to that too, Joey. I just realized, you have one life to live. You need to live for yourself. Tại từ lúc mà mình nhắm mắt xuôi tay, mình biết mình đã không có còn cái gì mình tiếc hết.
Đúng rồi.
So that's very important.
So especially when you're going through this as a teenager, as you know, like being a teenager, it's hard enough. You're already, if you're just a straight kid, it's already hard enough dealing with peer pressure, dealing with all the changes that your body goes through as a teenager. And then you brought up something really, I think, important is, so that's one thing you've got to deal with, but then you're also an immigrant. That's something else you've got to deal with. All of these different levels of obstacles that young people have to go through as immigrants to this country. And then now, you know, if you're also gay or lesbian, that's yet something else that you have to deal with. And I can imagine without family support, like, that's tough. How do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, you become really good at making up stories.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, you know, you have family get together. I mean, my family very supportive now, but back then, because I always had that fear, right? You cannot really came out to them and talk to them. Maybe, like I say, that drive to become a doctor in a way is like for me to prove myself. So it helped me in that sense. But at the same time, when people's like, getting out my labor, I always like, oh, I'm just too busy with work. And thank God, being in medical field, you know, being a pre-med, being a medical student, that excuse would be valid all the time.
Right.
And you have a big get together. It's like, oh, I'm busy on call. I have to like take call and this and that. Just hiding behind that shield that I put up for myself up until I was like, what, 38, 39. That's why I'm like, you know, that's it. Don't bring it down.
And how about you, Em? Has your family come to terms with this yet, or no?
My family already come to terms with this, but the experience của em á, là very different from you, anh. So maybe because my younger self was in the society, out in society, was very young. So it's like you say, right? Whatever don't kill you make you stronger, right? So basically, I built this tough shell around me. Because 18 years old, I remember lúc đó là còn học lớp 11, high school. Chưa học xong high school nữa. Mà thật sự lúc đó là mình không có hiểu, thật sự là ba mẹ không có hiểu về LGBTQ thôi, cho nên mới không có đồng ý. Nhưng mà sau này họ hiểu rồi á, they very supportive right now. Thì lúc mà em ra khỏi nhà, so I was so focused, like I have to be a person that proved my parents wrong. And to the point that when I go to functions, I have gay function, I actually bring my dad. I was like, I asked him, you want to come with me? I didn't tell him where, but I would bring him to this like event, like have gay people, lesbian people, we hang around, and he's come along like, because of a lot of exposure, so he's getting used to it. So he gradually accepted me. So that's why I believe in exposure. Many things people don't know, so they need understanding.
Of course.
So me, exposure, have to be exposed. So that's how I guide my parents that way. So, and have them understand more, and they're very supportive right now.
Do you still feel that you have to prove yourself? When you say that, it's kind of like when I got into broadcasting, and I know that it's completely different. Nhưng mà khi mà mình là minority đó, like you feel like you have to do much more than everyone else because you've got something to prove. Like you feel like you have to, là mình phải làm sao, mình phải rất là giỏi, mình phải rất là thành công để mình xứng đáng, mình mà làm thành một người xứng đáng vậy đó, right? And,
all the time.
And do you still feel that? Like honestly, do you still feel that?
I do.
Yes.
I do. I think it's still there. You know, there's still layers that, you know, just prove yourself in a way that you can just do things just as good as anyone else. But at the same time, and I love the fact that, you know, as you get older, I guess with more life experience, you can just say that you don't care attitude is kind of go along with it, and it helps.
And thì quá trẻ, you don't have that attitude yet. The I don't care attitude, because trust me, honey, it comes. You hit about 50.
Em cũng gần tới đó rồi, Giống như là bây giờ là em không có try to prove myself nữa. Em không có prove myself nữa. Bây giờ là I live for myself.
Very nice.
So tại vì cái mà em muốn prove myself á, không phải là I want to show them I can be better, nhưng mà thực sự lúc mà em ra khỏi nhà là lúc đó ba em nói một câu rất là nặng, gọi là biến thái, là bị biến thái. So những cái từ lúc đó là I don't want to say it on live, but all the term is very very heavy to the point that I can't even erase it in my brain. So nó nặng lắm, cho nên nó là, nhưng mà đó là một cái perception wrong về LGBTQ community. So it's a wrong perception. So lúc mà em nói prove myself, đó là I just want to prove my parents that even em là người trong cộng đồng LGBTQ+, nhưng mà em không phải những người đó. Tại vì cộng đồng nào, community nào cũng có những người khác nhau.
Đúng vậy.
So em prove myself to that point to let them know not everyone is the same. Còn cái mà better myself là actually is for myself also, because tại cái culture của mình là family oriented, đúng không? Mình raise an environment là thực sự là có thể American không có nghĩ giống như vậy, nhưng mà người Việt, em là Chinese Vietnamese, so em raise một cái environment đó là hồi nhỏ em lớn lên em thấy ba mẹ em chăm sóc bà ngoại em, bà nội em, thì khi mà em so I have that mentality like when em lớn lên em có chăm sóc ba má em, right? So it's almost imprint my brain. So khi mà em muốn improve myself đó là để have my parents have a better life here when they retire. So they already are. But so that was my proving myself in that point, not like to prove to anybody else.
Yeah, very good. What do you think are some of the stereotypes, or you were just kind of talking like sometimes người ta nghĩ đến một cộng đồng nào đó they have những cái mà stereotype, những cái mà thực sự là xấu, right? Người ta nghĩ xấu về những người đó. What are some of the stereotypes that you hear about?
So part of the reason, and you kind of started already, Joy, and now chị Lena bây giờ hỏi thêm người nữa, thì part of the reason I want to be on this show, on this podcast, is just to prove a point. Giống như là trong cùng một cái LGBT có nhiều người khác nhau, không phải lúc nào cũng là negative. Tại vì như mà Kelvin thấy lớn lên lúc nào nghĩ tới LGBT lúc nào cũng là negative, và những cái hình ảnh, những cái stereotype là gì? Là mặc ít quần áo, lúc nào cũng đi club, đi dancing, party, đi dancing, drugs, right? Drugs. And then when it comes to STDs, I mean, we in medical field, how many times that someone they walk in and say that they, a 40-year-old guy, and the moment they say it again, we start thinking about high risk for HIV, high risk for STDs, high risk for HPV related cancer. That it's almost as automatically, yes, from an epidemiology standpoint, yes, we do know that that's true, but that's not just about LGBT. And there are people that I think I'm in that, and I can hear that from Joey as well. We value the tradition, the family tradition, marriage, very important. Kelvin just got married last year, to the love of my life now. And thank you. And, we have family planning too. So that is something that, at the core of every human being, some of us still value. It doesn't matter what we do behind, in our bedroom, that is part of us. And I'm just hoping that through this podcast, through this show, that people can see that, there are different people in different groups. It's just don't generalize everything.
Yes.
Yep. No, I agree. And especially with conservative Vietnamese families, all those negative things come up, and that's all that they think about. Nhưng mà thực sự nếu mà mình nhìn lại cái cộng đồng LGBTQ đó, like the Vietnamese, it's no different. Là cũng có bác sĩ, kỹ sư, luật sư. I mean, they're like most people don't even know. Và tại vì all of these things that we're talking about now, some people are still not out.
Right.
There are people in very high positions who are not out, who are not really living authentically because they know that they will be judged. And I can't believe really here in 2025 mình vẫn còn bàn cái chuyện này, right? And we still have a long way to go.
Yes.
What is your, as you know, there are a lot of people struggling with these issues. Mà nhất là cho những người trẻ trong cộng đồng người Việt mình á, how do they talk to their parents? Like that's, it was hard enough for me to talk about, and I, you know what I mean? About anything with my parents, because we don't have that kind of relationship. Cha mẹ con cái không có cái sự mà chia sẻ, không có cái sự tâm sự với nhau. So it becomes very difficult. How do you do it?
Okay, I'm the chair.
Yeah.
Okay. So with my experience working with youth, I'm working with youth like for coming out, parents struggling, and youth are coming out from their gender identity. Thì rất là khó. Nhưng mà cái để cái mà trước khi mà mình coming out á, mình phải trước tiên cái người con phải hiểu cái perspective của parents, đúng không? Tại vì á ba mẹ thật sự á khi mà họ cắm một thứ gì đó á, ultimately là muốn tốt cho mình, thì ba mẹ hiểu con thì con cũng phải nên hiểu ba mẹ. Trước tiên là mình phải find out what is the understanding between first, đúng không? Thì cái người con phải hiểu ra tại sao ba mẹ lại không đồng ý như vậy trước. Thì khi mà mình không đồng ý thì mình mới kiếm được cái cách nào đó để mình giải quyết. Ví dụ nếu như mà ba mẹ đó không đồng ý tại vì nghĩ là mấy người bạn sẽ là xấu, hoặc là sẽ là, em có một cái điều rất thẳng luôn là của em luôn. Lúc mà em bị come out á, là mẹ em nói một câu, nói là tụi nó mà không thương mày nữa tụi nó sẽ giết mày đó. Em nhớ tới bây giờ cái câu nói đó. Cái đó là cái imprint vô cái brain của những người lớn họ như vậy. Là tại sao? Là qua truyền thông, media, movies, right? So whenever we see all these like award-winning movies, always about like killing people, right? Someone dying, things like that. Very sad. So những cái đó nó sẽ imprint vô những người lớn. Thì khi mà họ sẽ related to những người LGBT sẽ là người hút chích nè, nhưng mà không được cái người đó họ sẽ giết nè, vậy đó. Thì họ imprint trong họ. Thì nếu như mà những cái đó là cái misunderstanding, tại họ, like em nói là không có exposure thì họ sẽ không có hiểu. Thì người con phải hiểu cái behind cái standing là cái tại sao người mẹ không hiểu trước, thì mình sẽ kiếm được cái cách trả lời. Thì với một cách đó là nếu như mà không biết nữa, reach out to different organizations. Tại vì sẽ có là youth support, sẽ có là parent support, để parent nói chuyện với parent để họ giải thích với nhau. Tại người lớn tuổi với nhau họ sẽ có những cái cách nói chuyện chung với lứa tuổi nó sẽ dễ hiểu hơn. Thì người youth sẽ có những cái bé giống với nhau, chung lứa tuổi nhau, nói chuyện với nhau sẽ dễ hiểu hơn. Xong sau đó sẽ là meeting up in a middle ground. So and then that's when you start neutralize the relationship and then improve the relationship over time.
Very good. Calvin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, you
that
hit
is
on
such a good point. I
yeah,
love
it's a really good point. It hit right on the head of the note. Giống như là tiếng Việt có câu không có ai thương con bằng cha mẹ.
Đúng.
Như Calvin là lúc nào cũng nghĩ là ngay cả có partner, có vợ chồng, it still comes and goes, right? People divorce. You don't divorce your parents. I mean, yeah, you can disown whatever you say, but still, người thương con nhất và cũng là ba mẹ. Ba mẹ giống như Joey nói, ba mẹ cũng chỉ muốn cái làm cái gì đó tốt nhất cho mình. At the end of the day, that's their goal. Giống như Joey nói là phải explain to them. But I think I diverge a little bit here because it's just, for me, it's just more of do action. Calvin nghĩ là muốn làm cái gì đó, ngay cả trong công việc của mình không cần nói nhiều, mình làm, cái hành động của mình nó sẽ nói lên cái điều đó. Chẳng hạn Calvin mang bạn trai của mình về để cho ba mẹ thấy, và bằng một cách nào đó, giống như trong những cuộc nói chuyện đi ăn với nhau, mình có thể show cho ba mẹ thấy là gì, mình cũng có một cái cuộc sống rất là bình thường, mình cũng có thể vui vẻ bên cạnh người bạn của mình. Rồi tới lúc mà mang tiếng là mà kết hôn rồi, đúng không, mà tới lúc mà kể lại cho ba mẹ, mời ba mẹ tới đám cưới này nọ, cũng rất run lắm chứ, nhưng mà cũng rất là may mắn là ba mẹ rất là open về chuyện đó. Và you know, the moment khi mà có ba mẹ walk down the aisle, I would never forget that moment, right? Very special. And Calvin cũng rất là lucky, tại vì người partner của Calvin, người bạn đời của Calvin thì cũng có ba mẹ, cũng walk down the aisle, and we're so close as a whole family on both sides, as a unit, we're so close. In fact, my in-law just left this morning. Stay with us. So actions, for me, prove it by actions. And now we're talking about family planning. I can see it in my father's eyes. He's just like, even my mom, right? It's something for our parents' generation. They didn't even think of that. They don't even think it's a possibility, but it is. So like you say, it's just phải giải thích cho ba mẹ biết những cái chuyện đó có thể được. Và you know, modern family, we can have kids too, and we can take care of kids just like anyone else.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think even when we're not talking about this and talking about other things, like personally, my own personal situation, like divorce was like, couldn't even think about it. And my parents wanted to disown me. They were so unhappy that I was even thinking about divorce. And I went through a lot of pain. Nhưng mà now that I've made it to where I am, now I can really see thật sự ba má mình á, họ thật sự chỉ muốn mình hạnh phúc. Mình hạnh phúc, mình vui là ba má vui. That's all they really want. Và bây giờ mình có con, mình cũng là biết như vậy. Con cái mình mà nó thành công, oh my God, we're happy. Con cái mình mà nó vui vẻ, oh my gosh, we're happy. That's all we live for. And so, one là yes, mình phải hiểu tại sao mà ba má, nếu mà những em nào mà you want to try to come out mà ba má rất là tức giận. Không phải là tại vì they reject you, nhưng mà they sợ con sẽ sống một cuộc sống rất nhiều cái đau khổ là tại vì nhiều người không có accept. So they worry about you. And then the other thing is sometimes mình nói nhưng mà they cannot trust what they hear. So you've got to do. You've got to be happy. You've got to bring the boyfriend or the girlfriend around so that they can see you're happy, right? And I think that's very, very powerful. So we have someone in the audience right now, same thing, and I've gone through this with her, where her family just would not accept it. Would not accept it. And so what happens is khi mà mình có những cái family event á, thì cô sẽ không có she always một là she không đi hoặc là she đi một mình. Okay, even though she's got a partner in life, nhưng mà sợ gia đình không có chấp nhận nên không có, she's not always alone. Nhưng mà when we do that, then you don't expose them and you don't show them that you have a partner, that your partner is supportive of you, that you are happy. And I just said, and one day they will accept you. I just want to cry each time I talk about this because she has gone through a lot of pain. Nhưng mà rốt cuộc, quý vị biết sao không? Là gia đình cũng là chấp nhận. Rồi gia đình sau này á, mình biết là em này sau này rất là hạnh phúc khi mà thấy gia đình mình cũng là thương cái người mà mình thương. That is so special. And so, yes, you will go through pain. Nhưng mà mình phải hiểu là at the core of everybody là gia đình mình muốn mình hạnh phúc, muốn mình vui vẻ. Nên thật sự your responsibility is actually to help them along the way. This is different. This is difficult. You have to help them understand. You have to help them get there. Phải không?
Yeah.
So those are great. Now, leaving family aside for a second, did your sexual preferences interfere with your professional life? Did you see that in other areas? So not talking about family now, talking about professionally.
I think in medical field, it's still pretty conservative, right? As much as we say, we take care of everyone. As a provider, healthcare provider, we don't say we take care of everyone. We took it off. But when it comes to, say, at least for my time, applying to medical school, applying to residency, applying to fellowship, không bao giờ Kelvin bring up this topic. Maybe that was a fear in me that I didn't want people to think differently about me or judging me. I think that fear was still there. But at the same time, I'd rather just completely take that out of the equation when I apply. And then same with work. I didn't say, when I applied for my job, I didn't say that to anyone either.
Right.
I don't want people to think of me or less of me or more of me, whatever it is. It's because of that factor.
Yeah. You just want people to see you as a person.
Yes.
And not consider anything else, right?
Yeah. And my work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm actually very different.
Oh.
I'm very different. So whenever I have a job interview, anything like that, I always emphasize I'm in the community. Because
why? Yeah.
Because think of it this way. If I go to work and if I work in an environment that doesn't accept who I am, I'm not going to be happy. So I rather if you don't hire me, great. Maybe I'm not fit for you and you're not fit for me either. So it's a mutual, right? The feeling is neutral. We don't fit for each other. So we shouldn't start a relationship.
Wow.
So my resume always have, I'm involved in the community.
Yeah.
So I just let it out. And then of course, they never ask, but even at work, I don't hide. I don't like when they talk about family, I talk about my partner too. I talk about my wife too. So So like they talk about the husband, as like they talk about the kids. I say, I have 3 dogs, they're my kids. You know, you have a husband, I have a wife too. So I don't go around. I'm just very straightforward, very straightforward.
And that has to feel like there has to be a freedom in that.
Yes. So there is pro and con, right? So I did have a lot of positive feedback, like rarely in medical, like I have probably 90% people would very comfortable. Only 10% that would have some comments. They would come and ask me why. I said, what do you mean why? It's like, oh, why are you married to a girl? It's like, because I love her.
Wait a second, I gotta ask you this. Are these people Asian who are asking you this, or no? Do you see any kind of
Asians and white too?
Really?
Asian and white. Mostly Asian, but yes, white. But they asked me, I was like, yeah, because I love her. Like, there's no explanations. Are you married? I asked them that. Are you married? I say yes. So you married to a woman? I presume. I say yes. Do you love her? So he said yes. Same thing. I love my wife. There's no change. There's nothing. It's just different sexual, but the love is gonna be the same. So I don't hide. But people that maybe because I am lucky because I'm female is in society when a female with female, so somehow society view it a little bit easier than 2 gay men walking the street. To be honest, I think it's so cute. Whenever I see 2 men walking the street and hold their hand, I'm like, oh my god, it's so cute. You know, I love seeing that. But I know, but in reality, many people don't understand. They would give them a lot more pushback compared to women, compared to 2 females. So I understand the struggle too, why they want to hide, because I do see that even in work environment, I do see that they treating the difference between 2 female than 2 male. I can see the difference. So their struggle, actually, the gay community struggle is a lot higher compared to us women.
At the same time, I think there's a personal preference as well. Like I said, 10 years ago that I was talking about 10 years ago. Now, I try to separate my personal stories. When patients ask me, I just make it very general because it has nothing to do with them. For me, it's I mean, you ask me, and trust me, a lot of patients, like, even when they don't get the answer from me, they start going around asking my nurses, my MA, who's married, who is married to, where does he live? All these kind of questions. It's just human nature, and they're curious. But I think it's a personal preference that I think I briefly touched you right before the show. I say my motto is just fly under the radar, because if you don't get into a lot of dramas, you don't get into confrontation, your life is so much easier. You already do a lot of things at work, and so I try not to talk about it, and thank God, my partner the same way. We live a very quiet life, and in our neighborhood, we just keep everything very under the radar. So I think that is a personal flair to it too.
Yes.
But you're absolutely right that it's a little bit harder when it comes to guy versus a girl when it comes to this type of situation. Thing.
And I think it's that way in every culture. The women are softer. Women can kiss each other when they see each other, and it's normal because we're used to seeing it. It's that exposure. Women hugging each other, women holding hands. What else? It's just women being women.
Because we see it all the time.
We see it all the time.
In Vietnam, in Asia, like women hold hands like as friends on the street, even they straight. So it's a lot.
Actually, Vietnamese men hold hands on the street as straight friends in Vietnam.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think it depends on the type of holding hands. It's just a little hug versus hand holding, like walking together.
Nhưng mà càng dài thì nó khác, giống như là anh em thì nó khác, chứ hold hand.
Nhưng mà đây là chị nói là
nắm tay mà dung dăng dung dẻ nó khác à.
I know. Cái emotion nó phải different chứ chị đâu thể nào giống nhau được.
Tại vì chị về Việt Nam chị thấy hồi xưa nha, cách đây maybe 10 mấy năm, and I always thought nếu mà thấy hai thằng nào nó cầm tay nhau, I said, oh, I didn't know that they could be openly gay here. And my mom said they're not. That in Vietnam, that happens a lot. And I mean, now it might be different. Now, sometimes I think now bây giờ bên Việt Nam còn là bạo hơn nữa.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Especially in Saigon.
Yeah.
Like they get wild there now, right?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Em lo quá chưa về không biết.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's a personal preference versus how much you wanna come out now too, right? It's just now at work, everyone knows pretty much at work for me, and I don't talk about it. If people ask me, I will tell them. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. I think one thing I do hear sometimes when like on social media, when I see people who seem a little bothered by all this, pride stuff, they're just bothered. And one thing that they'll always say is, I don't go around announcing I'm straight. Why do you have to go around announcing you're gay? Right? To them, it's like, they feel like it's being pushed down their throat. I mean, can you see that perspective? And is there an argument for, well, that's because you're not being, persecuted for being straight, right? And so therefore, there has to be some kind of movement to get it out there, to kind of let people know this exists and it's normal and it's people living normal lives. I mean, can you see why some people are like, stop pushing it down my throat?
I think it's more of, like you said earlier, Joey, is what's on the media, what's on TV, on show. If we can just have a complete picture of all gays, right? You go to a gay pride, for example. When I was younger, I went to a few, and for me, you see floats, floats after floats, the same thing, doing all the crazy thing, men in underwear and all that. It's just, after a while, people just they feel like it's bombarded. Yes, that is a side of that. I grew up with it, I enjoy it too myself, but it's not everything. So I think if we can just changing the perspective to the point, this show, for example, is one of them. It's the whole purpose, so to see a different point of view of being gay. It's not just that. Then I think eventually, hopefully, people will see it differently.
Yeah. So, because you had mentioned earlier about just the media playing a part in other people's perspectives, right? That if the only thing that we're seeing is on the gay community is Pride Week and all the crazy parties and the outrageous floats, because that's what the news is going to show you. That we just have to be like a little more responsible as the media, right? As what you're seeing on TV, when you're seeing in movies, right? You don't see a lot of love story type movies with a gay couple.
Yes.
And so you're absolutely right that the media has played a big role in how the community is seen. Is there anything that you think that people in the LGBTQ plus community can do better as advocates for the community? Like, do you think sometimes people are a little too aggressive, a little, you know what I mean? Is there anything that you see that you think that people could be doing better to help the cause?
I think one thing is just like, you don't have to react all the time. Just sit back, think before, when someone attack you or whatever, just sit back and think that, like you said earlier, see the why, and then you respond. So I think that would be more helpful in a sense. West Hollywood, for example, right? You go on there, it's just like, everything is just like out there all the time. But why just West Hollywood? Why can't we just have it in Orange County? And it's just like, as a cafeteria that, a gay couple is just enjoying studying together, and they have a little hug together. Something just simple like that. I'm just hoping one day it's going to become something like that. That would be nice.
Do you think the Vietnamese community has gone far enough? Or do you think it's getting better in our community or no?
In a sense, it's getting better, but I think we need more exposure. I don't think we have enough media outlets to get it out, to be a little bit more visibility for the community. I think the more, the better. This is not enough. This is barely getting there. It's barely. I would just say we're probably like a baby step right now. Not even a teenager step yet. It's a baby step because it's still not a lot of exposure. So thank you so much, Elena, to have us on the show, because this is considered one of the exposure too, because you don't want just to go to conference and talk about it. You don't want to go to professional conference and talk about it, because that's in a certain groups. You want to be a media like this, because this is worldwide broadcasting, right? So more people gonna know, not just in the US, but everywhere else too. And then people that watch the show will have family member in elsewhere, and that's how they're gonna start delivering messages, right? So cái broadcast are very very important. So em nghĩ là cần phải có nên nhiều broadcast hơn.
100%.
Em không biết là anh có nhớ lúc mà mình làm gay marriage á, mình fight for property, we did a lot of those, em cũng làm a lot of interview với lại mấy cái nhà báo Việt Nam.
Really?
And then lúc mà fight for V-Rock cũng có a lot involved with a lot of news too. So that's how we get it exposed. That's how we get passed, right? Because people understand more, so they start voting positively, and people start knowing it. Nhưng mà without mấy cái outlet của media, thực sự không có nhiều người biết. Nhưng mà những cái đó chỉ khi nào có chuyện mình mới làm thì cũng không có đúng. Mình phải liên tục expose, because you just normalize it now, right? You keep expose, and when people on the street see it, say, oh, I saw it, nothing new, okay, go on. So nếu không có more exposure thì sẽ có ít judgmental hơn.
And then the type of exposure, the types of things that we're showing is very important, because just like and I always tie this to how I feel about the Vietnamese community. Hồi trước làm với đài CBS, like I wanted to cover things in our community that weren't crime related. Right? Tại sao là khi nào mà có crime thì khi đó mình mới nghe tên Việt Nam, nó xấu hổ dễ sợ không? Right? So what we need to see is like the normalcy of it, like the inclusiveness of, having people in the gay community, not covering news stories, not covering just events. Right? It has to be more normalized.
Even at some point, I remember like when I was watching, like you said, a lot of gay movies, all about like club scenes and at the gym, and after a while, it's just getting very boring, and you just that's not us. That's really not
us, because we don't act like that.
Yes, and I just hate it. I hate that fact so much, because it doesn't define as a whole, a whole community.
It's a small portion of it, but the bigger community, the bigger people, like bigger community, one community, but in a bigger outside the mainstream, we have a lot more people that, because we are like you said, mình live under the radar, tại mình không có thích exposure, because we want a quiet life. Mình want a quiet life, but we still doing good for community on the background. Thì những cái đó những người khác sẽ không có thấy được. Họ chỉ thấy những cái gì mà lên TV thôi, giống như parade nè, naked nè, dance sexy nè. Just like, thì nếu như em nói thiệt, nếu như mà nhiều người mà không thích những cái đó thì đừng có đi. Giống như nhiều người thích đi strip club thì họ đi, họ không đi strip club thì họ không đi. Thì đừng có tới thôi, đúng không? Thì they have the right to express themselves.
And that's strip club.
Exactly. Then go strip club.
When it comes to gay, that's the ratio talking about it is way more.
So
that is not fair.
It has to be equality, but it has to be equal. You have the right to express yourself. Other people too. Of course, mình phải có limit. Thì cái nào cũng có limit. Thì đương nhiên khi mà, because on our community, our people very có rất là nhiều we're very artsy, like we very like how to say
artistic and
creative. So mình lúc nào cũng làm đổi mới mình hết. Nhưng mà những cái đổi mới quá thì những cái người khác thì họ lại không có chấp nhận được. Không có chấp nhận được, tại bước một cái chân next, like start a new step is harder than staying in the same place. Because you're in your comfort zone. So when you're seeing new things, you don't want to change. You just don't want to change, because you want to be in your comfort zone.
So normalcy.
So one thing that you hear about and everyone is very familiar with now is talking about just seeing representation in the media, whether it's on the news, whether it's in movies and TV. The fight is actually the same, right? It's we don't want to see Asian women playing the hookers, right? When it's me love you long time. That's what and it becomes a joke. But that's all that people saw. Hoặc là the Asian person is always the person who works in a restaurant. It's always the Chinese guy at the laundromat.
Right on now.
Right on, yeah. And so it's the same thing, is that we just and I say we, like I'm part of your community. It's, we want to see just kind of an inclusive, like they're just a part of the fabric of the community. It's like there's people out there that aren't like living authentically, because there are people out there who won't accept them, even though it has nothing to do with those people, right?
Yeah. For example, it's just like, okay, Grey's Anatomy ER show, for example. There are people, you know, working in the ER being gay. They do it. So the focus of the show is still medical. But then because it's a, say, reality show, and then they have an aspect of a gay person being in the show. But they have their own personal story. But the focus is still about a medical show, for example. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Right.
And I think that's a lot more attractive as a show than just focusing on, you know, dancing in the club.
I agree. Now, I know that, tell me about the kind of the advocacy work that you do, just so that if there are people out there who want to reach out and kind of learn more about the local community.
Okay. So I am a co-founder, also used to be co-chair and board advisor for Viet Rainbow Orange County, also known as VROC. So it's a 501c3 nonprofit. So the organization now, I'm not involved anymore. We have younger people come in, take over already. So they have their own staff and everything. So their purpose is to like provide leadership, youth support, and then provide parent support. So the office actually on beach down in close by Burner Park that way.
Is there a website that people can go on?
Yes, so it's just Google Viet Rainbow Orange County.
Viet Rainbow of Orange County.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I think there's another like club, the same name, but it's called, let me see.
So this is kind of a resource for people out there if you want to, whether you're a young person who's kind of struggling with, you know, I can't tell my parents, and I feel, especially if you feel at all like what we were talking about in the beginning, where like you just don't think that your life is worth living anymore, that you're alone and all that.
They have a lot of support. They have a lot of support. So their website is VIETROC.org.
VIETOC.
No, VIETROC.org.
Okay. So
and you can also find them on Facebook and Instagram as well. They're actually more active on Facebook. They have a lot of events that have like for youth gathering, and if they need help, they have leadership training. If you need help in career, you need help in mental health, they even provide mental health support too.
Wow.
So there's a lot on there. So if you struggling, don't know what to do, always can reach out to them. They always need volunteers, so you can expose to the environment and expose to leadership and expose to what you can do. They also have scholarship. Yes, they have scholarship. They provide scholarship. Last year, they provide scholarship. The scholarship will give out every year. So usually they would announce. So I'm in one of the review for the scholarship recipient. So every year we have a fundraising in October, and then that's where we're gonna announce the recipient for the scholarship.
And then if you're a family member or a parent who is kind of struggling, can they find support?
Yes. So definitely can reach out to them and then find support.
Have you seen parents call in?
I was originally involved in. So yes, we have a parent support groups that we call the mamas.
The mamas?
The mamas and the papas. Okay. So we do, and right now because the vision a little bit different because the youngster coming up now. So the mama kind of a little step back, but they're always in the background. Whenever they need help, they just reach out. They would come and help. So the mama in the background, what they do is we actually are we are first generation. We actually on standby for the youth. They running the show now. They running your own nation now. But whenever they need help for support, they need help back up in the Vietnamese community because, like you said, younger generation they don't speak Vietnamese, không nói tiếng Việt nhiều, thì họ sẽ không có involve nhiều những cái tiếng Việt được, thì họ sẽ gọi mình thông dịch hoặc cái gì đó, hoặc là cần support của ba mẹ thì họ sẽ liên lạc. Thì lúc nào thì cũng có những we not involved actively, nhưng mà we always in the background come and help.
Very good. Okay. Wow, can you believe it's been an hour? We could go on and on and on. There's so many things that
Oh,
so I
yeah.
love the conversation. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for inviting us.
So before we say goodbye and leave the audience, any last words that you want to leave people with?
Yeah, so như Kelvin nói lúc đầu á, tôi nhớ một điều là mình lúc mình còn trẻ thì mình tỏ cái này sợ cái kia, sợ bị judge cái này, xong tới lúc một ngày nào đó như Kelvin thì chắc 38 39 tuổi tới lúc đó mới it hit me, giống như là mình có một cái cuộc sống của mình và ba mẹ cũng đi một chặng đường với mình thôi, và tới một lúc nào đó khi mà mình nhắm mắt xuôi tay thì mình phải cảm thấy mình happy với cái quyết định của mình, là những cái việc mình làm trong cuộc đời của mình không có gì để tiếc nuối. Và cũng chính vì đó mà Kelvin cảm thấy những cái gì mà Kelvin làm bây giờ là không chỉ vừa cho gia đình vừa cho bản thân, và sẽ không còn gì tiếc khi mà mình có thể sống với chính bản thân mình.
Oh, you have a question? Sure.
So I heard that Kelvin said yeah, and then you had something about like being happy, right? What do you mean by yeah?
Kelvin nghĩ Andy rất là giỏi về cái chuyện dung dăng dung dẻ, cái chuyện mà nhắm tay mà nhảy tới nhảy lui là Andy rất là giỏi. Thì đó, thì khi nắm tay nhảy tới nhảy lui là dung dăng dung dẻ đó.
Being happy.
Being happy.
Dung dăng dung dở hả?
Dung dăng dung dẻ.
Dung dẻ.
Dung dăng dung dẻ.
Dung dăng dung dẻ. Sometimes there are things
Hand in hand.
I guess, and then
translate.
Yeah, I don't think you can translate it.
Or Vietnamese into English.
So then we use our heart to translate it, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Joey, your last words.
Cái này là Joey, I want to deliver this message for the youth, especially those actually having thought of suicide or trying to attempt suicide. Please reach out for help. You are not alone. A lot of us in our first generation been through it. You're not alone. The reason I'm saying that because I have friends that did suicide, and Dr. Kevin did have suicidal thought. And the prevalence cho mấy người LGBTQ+, youth á, từ 14 tới 23 tuổi á, rất là cao. Cho nên á, Joey muốn là nói với các em hãy reach out for help. There's always people out there helping, but just don't be by yourself. Don't be alone. We there to help.
Thank you both. And then I guess the last thing that I would want to say is, as a person who, if you are not at all involved in the LGBTQ community, if you know nobody, that the first thing that Dr. Kelvin talked about, and I said, oh my gosh, yes. And as I get older, I live this way, and that is, I live, when you say you live for yourself, it's not that you're being selfish, it's you are making the most of the time that you have on this earth. And everyone thinks they have a lot of time, but we actually don't know that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see a lot of people living with regret. Như vậy là mấy chục năm họ không có nhìn mặt con là tại vì con nó hư, right? Nó hư. Nhưng mà sau này á, khi mà họ mà đã connect lại, họ đã là mình thấy con mình thực sự là nó vui, nó hạnh phúc. Bây giờ mình thấy khi đó tại sao mà mình waste all this time? Phải không? So we don't have the time. We think that we do, but we don't. And so I think that the best way forward is also always to live authentically. And there's nothing wrong with living for yourself. That it's not selfish, right? Because when you live for yourself and you're happy, you're actually making all the people around you happy as well. And no one should live with regret. So whatever little time we all have on this earth, and no one knows when that time is up, that we should all treat each other with respect, and like you should be making someone else's life happy. If you're not making someone else's life better, then why are you here, right? So thank you both again.
Thank you.
I love you both. I'm going to have you on the show again, right? We'll talk about so many things, probably medical things. Now I've got a big, right, medical things, and get a bunch of singing doctors on the air.
Oh,
so thank you, quý vị đã theo dõi chương trình. It is an important subject. Please reach out if anyone needs help. Reach out and offer a friendly hand to somebody else. That would be awesome. So we will see you Thursday. This time for some English lessons. Bye, everybody.